With our Parallax bonus game, we're going to take our original Parallax tutorial and add quite a few things to it to make it a playable game. So one of the first things you can probably do is go ahead and resize your room. And in this case, you're going to go to your room, and in your settings, we want to adjust that width to 2500 and our height to 325. And then to make sure everything's able to be tested when we play it and everything looks the way it should, we're going to go to our views. And we want to make sure that we've checked enable the use of views. Clear the background with window color. This is going to be our view 0. We want it visible when the room starts. And then our view in the room is going to be 320 by 200. Our port on the screen is going to be 320 by 200. And the object we want to follow is going to be our object car with a horizontal boundary of 110, vertical border of 32. And then the separations, we can just leave at -1, which I think is the default. And what this does is it allows us to only see, so now you can, if I turn my grid off here, this is the size of our view. And so when we're playing it, you can't see the entire room, you can't see every object coming, and the car, as all the objects approach the car, we kind of have to maneuver as we go, as opposed to being able to see a path that's very, very wide. So it just increases kind of the difficulty level a little bit. And we want to make sure that you place your car on the left-hand side of your room. Some of you, when you've tested it, if your car is outside of where this window lies, then you're not going to have a game. It's just going to show a small black screen because it's set to follow your car. But if your car is placed outside of where the view is, then it's never going to find it. So we need to make sure that the car is, in fact, in the room. Now, in terms of our sprites, we're just leaving in our car and all of our trees. You can see I actually took the large trees out just because I didn't want to block anything, but you can leave them in if you'd like to. And then we're going to load our sprite bomb, our sprite diamond, our goal, our rock, and our wall. And you can see the wall is a 24 by 12 sprite. The rock you'll need to resize to make it 16 by 16. And again, we do edit sprite, transform, and then stretch to get it down to that size. The goal will leave at 32 by 32. And our sprite diamond will resize down to 16 by 16. If you do want to go ahead and just compare the items I have over here for collision checking, that could be useful. I have both of these boxes checked, and it should go ahead and just kind of find the sprite automatically, the size of that. But if you want to go in and just make sure everything matches, you can certainly do that. But you can see the flag here is great. So my interaction is only going to be with the sprite, not the entire rectangle of the image file. I did not have to do anything with my backgrounds. As I got to my objects, one change is that I have made my car, he was visible before, I've also checked him as solid. That's going to allow him to have interactions with everything. I've got a collision with the bomb that will destroy the instance of the bomb. It will bring up the high score table and end the game. My no key function makes it so that when if I do not have the up or down key pressed, my car will stop moving. And so that's a stop function right there. Up or down, I'm going up at a speed of 4, down at a speed of 4. For my wall, you could also leave him solid if you wanted to. It's not a big deal, but I went ahead and put a collision in with the car to stop as well. I sometimes tend to create multiple events and actions just to make sure that I do everything. Sometimes if I only have it with one object, then maybe I mess up and I miss it. And anyway, I just think it's easier to go through and make sure that you want the car to stop when it hits the wall. So you can see I've definitely programmed it with the car. And if you wanted to do a collision with the car and the wall here, you could as well. But totally up to you. I just have it with my wall. But sometimes I do it through multiple objects. My bomb, I've got a create function. That means it's going to be created and it's going to move to the left at a speed of 4. When it collides with the car, again, I pretty much have that same instance. It's going to destroy itself, bring up the high score table, and then end the game. And it's solid as well. My diamond is visible. It's going to create and move to left speed of 4. Collision with the car is going to set the score relative to 5, so I'm adding 5 points every time I collect a diamond, and it's going to destroy itself on collision. So it's think of like when you play Mario, the coin disappears when Mario hits the coin. That's what we're doing here. My rock is very similar, also moving at a left speed of 4, but now the collision is going to decrease the score relative of 5. So I'm losing points if I hit a rock, and it's going to destroy itself once it collides with the car. And the goal will move to with the speed of left. Collision with the car shows the high score table and ends the game. It's going to be my last item in my room. So back to your room, as you start to piece your game together, the first thing you're going to want to make sure that you do is we're going to change our snap X and Y to 25 by 12. And if I bring you up to the wall here, you can see it's 24 by 12. So you can even do 24 by 12 if you want to, which I'll go ahead and do. But the other reason I like to do that is to make sure that each of my objects, I have a little bit more control when I place them. So when I put my wall in here, remember the car isn't moving, so you actually don't need anything past this point, right? Because the car is just going up and down. So I can place these in if I wanted to, but it's useless. They're not going to do anything. And I have them placed just off the road, so it gives the illusion that my car's tires stay on the road. If you place them too far down, then you're going to feel like your car's trapped because he's not going to have much of a buffer. So give him a little bit of room. And then just kind of test it out to make sure it does look like that the car is staying on the road, but he's not going into the grass or anything, and he's not trapped. Again, a common mistake is folks will lay the blocks right here, and you can see that really limits the mobility of my vehicle. So I don't want to do that. You can also, with your wall, if you want to leave him visible while you design your room, you can. But make sure he's not checked visible, so that way when the game starts, we don't see all these ugly blocks. As you place your other items, and remember, you want to create a path for your car. Every object should be avoidable. And so if you're testing your game and you place a bomb right, perhaps right here, and again, let's go to 25 by 12. Sometimes that works a little better. I'm going to click and drag, and that allows me to place it a little bit more exact. But if you place a bomb that can't be avoided, then what's the point of it? You need to give your player a choice, and you need to create a path. If it can't be avoided, then you're guaranteed to lose points, to end the game, or to gain points. So you want to make sure that the car has choice as you play, and the player has choice. And as you put these items in, again, you can click and drag and place those around wherever you'd like them. And if you would have left this at 32 by 32, then it's a little bit messier. So that's why we just kind of scale it down. So if I wanted to place my rocks, I can actually go 16 by 6. Oops. I can change this as I design my level. So I can go 16 by 16 and place my rocks down if I want to. And then when I place my bombs down, it's 32 by 32. Yeah, see that it's moving in a 32 by 32 segment, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to go back to 25 by 12. And now I've got a little bit more variance where I can place that along the road, and it's going to be avoidable now. So as you design your room, you can scroll down, add items in, test it out a bunch of times. You want to make it difficult, especially towards the end. You want to give the player a choice. Are they going to try to collect all the diamonds with the risk of hitting a rock? So you can see this is strategically placed where the player can avoid it if they choose to, kind of like this one as well. If they choose to get that that diamond, it's going to be tough. They're probably going to wind up hitting that rock. So they can avoid it altogether and just take the top row, or they're going to go for the high score. So I'm giving the player a choice in a very simple game. So play around with your room layouts, see what you like, see what you don't like. Make sure objects are avoidable. You give the player a choice. You give the player different paths that they can take. And that is our Parallax bonus game.